Let's rewind to 1993. The UFC wasn't meant to be a league. It wasn't about rankings, belts, or brands. It was a one-night tournament to answer a single question. Who is the ultimate fighter? Different styles. No weight classes. No rules. Just two people walking in, and one leaving with their style and skill proven. But what if we kept asking that question? What if every time the man on top was beaten, the crown passed on, from fighter to fighter, promotion to promotion, no matter where they fought? This is the story of the Lineal Ultimate Fighter. The rules are simple. The title begins with the winner of UFC 1. From there, whoever beats the reigning champion becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter. It doesn't matter if it's UFC, Pride, Strikeforce, or PFL. There are no vacated titles. If you retire undefeated, you remain the champion until someone beats you in MMA. One man at a time, one continuous chain, one Ultimate Fighter. It only makes sense to start at UFC 1, which was a one-night tournament. The final saw Gerard Gordeau vs. Royce Gracie for the title on November 12, 1993, in Denver, Colorado, USA. At the end, Royce Gracie submits Gerard Gordeau with a rear-naked choke in the final of UFC 1. And with that, Gracie becomes the original Ultimate Fighter. On May 1, 2000, Royce Gracie fought Kazushi Sakuraba at the Pride Grand Prix 2000 finals in Tokyo, Japan. In a legendary 90-minute battle, Gracie's corner throws in the towel. Sakuraba wins, becoming the second lineal champion, ending Gracie's reign as the Ultimate Fighter after 2,362 days. Later that same night, just hours after defeating Royce Gracie in a 90-minute war, Sakuraba returned for the Pride Grand Prix semi-finals to face Igor Vovchanchin. Sakuraba started strong, even threatening with submissions, but the weight difference and exhaustion caught up to him. After the first round was declared a draw, his corner threw in the towel before overtime. Igor Vovchanchin becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter. Sakuraba's reign lasts just a few hours, one of the shortest in history. Later that night, Igor faced Mark Coleman in the Grand Prix final. Coleman took him down, controlled him, and finished with knees in round 2. For the second time that night, the Lineal title changes hands, and Mark Coleman becomes the new Lineal champion. On September 24, 2001, at Pride 16, Mark Coleman faced Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira in Osaka, Japan. Nogueira secured a submission victory via triangle armbar in the first round, ending Coleman's 511-day reign as the Lineal champion. In Yokohama, Japan, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira defended his Lineal title against Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor dominated the bout, securing a unanimous decision victory after 3 rounds. Nogueira's reign lasted 539 days. Fedor Emelianenko becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter champion. On June 26, 2010, after over 7 years and 28 wins, Fedor Emelianenko stepped into the Strikeforce cage against Fabricio Verdum. In under 90 seconds, the unthinkable happened. Fedor dropped Verdum early and rushed to finish, but the Brazilian jiu-jitsu ace caught him in a deep triangle armbar. Fedor tapped for the first time in his career. Verdum ends the last emperor's 2,659-day reign and becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter. On June 18, 2011, the Lineal title was defended in Strikeforce as Fabricio Verdum faced Alistair Overeem in the heavyweight Grand Prix quarterfinals. Verdum pulled guard repeatedly, hoping to recreate his submission magic. But Overeem stayed patient, stayed standing, and controlled the fight with takedown defense and heavy hands. It went the distance, but the result was clear. Alistair Overeem wins by unanimous decision and becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter. Vadum's reign ends after 357 days. At UFC 156 on February 2, 2013, Alistair Overeem defended his Lineal title against Antonio Bigfoot Silva in Las Vegas. Despite controlling the early rounds, Overeem was caught off guard in the third. Silva unleashed a brutal flurry of punches, knocking him out just 25 seconds into the round. Overeem's 602-day reign was over, and with that, the Lineal Ultimate Fighter title returned to the UFC for the first time in over 18 years, after traveling through Pride and Strikeforce since it departed with Royce Gracie in 1994. Antonio Silva becomes the new Lineal champion. At UFC 160, just 112 days after claiming the title, Antonio Silva faced Cain Velasquez in a rematch. This time, there was no question. Cain swarmed early, landed heavy shots, and finished Silva in just 81 seconds. The Lineal crown passes again. Cain Velasquez becomes the new Ultimate Fighter. At UFC 188 in Mexico City, Cain Velasquez met interim champ Fabricio Verdum in a title unification bout. Verdum outstruck him at altitude and locked in a guillotine choke in round 3. With the win, Verdum becomes the first fighter to capture the Lineal Ultimate Fighter title twice, once in Strikeforce and now in the UFC. Cain's 746-day reign ends. The crown returns to Verdum. At UFC 198 in Curitiba, Brazil, Fabricio Verdum faced Stipe Miocic in front of a massive home crowd. But as Verdum rushed forward, Miocic landed a clean right hand and knocked him out cold. Verdum's second reign ends after 336 days. Stipe Miocic becomes the new Lineal Ultimate Fighter. At UFC 226, in a champ v champ showdown, Daniel Cormier moved up from light heavyweight to challenge Stipe Miocic. Late in the first round, DC landed a short right hand in the clinch that dropped Miocic and finished the job on the ground. Stipe's 785-day reign ends. Daniel Cormier becomes the Lineal Ultimate Fighter, a two-division champion. At UFC 241, Miocic got his rematch against Daniel Cormier. After weathering early pressure, he made adjustments, targeting the body with brutal shots. By round 4, Cormier was visibly fading. Miocic poured on the punches and stopped DC with a TKO. Stipe reclaims the Lineal title, ending Cormier's 406-day reign. At UFC 260, Francis Ngannou got his long-awaited rematch with Stipe Miocic. This time, he was patient, composed, and devastating. Early in round 2, Ngannou countered with a brutal left hook and shut the lights out. Miocic's second reign ends after 588 days. Francis Ngannou becomes the Lineal Ultimate Fighter, and as of now, he has never lost it in the cage. Francis Ngannou stands today as the reigning Lineal Ultimate Fighter, and no one has taken that title from him. He didn't lose it in the UFC. He didn't lose it in boxing. And under the rules of this lineage, you can't. The crown only passes through professional MMA fights. Since leaving the UFC, Francis has made headlines in boxing, nearly dethroning Tyson Fury, then returned to MMA under the PFL banner, formerly known as the LFC. That means today, the Lineal title lives in the PFL, not the UFC. If you want the crown, you'll have to follow it there. From Royce Gracie in 1993 to now, this has never been about belts or brands. It's about one thing: beating the man. Francis remains what Royce was on day one, the ultimate fighter.